Okay, there are some improvements to classifications that can be performed by some adjustments. Okay, we will go through the concepts here and we'll do examples in Excel. So if you have prior probabilities and if the prior probabilities are not equal, okay, the classes are not equally frequent, and that will typically be the case when you have rare events like events with only 5%, 95% are non-events. So in such cases, you can do some jiggling to find better results. So how do you do that? So you add log of P sub j, that is P sub j is the probability that a case belongs to class J. So that's your prior probability. So if you have two classes, 5% and 95%, then you will find log of 0.05 and log of 0.95 for the other class, and you will add that to your discriminant function. So for example here, in the example that we did, suppose if the discriminant function is for owners is 73.06, for non-owners is minus 51.42, minus 73.16 and minus 51.42. Okay, suppose that. And if the prior probabilities are 15% owners and 85% non-owners, okay. So in that case, what you do is you add to the owners, okay, that discriminant function plus natural log of 0.15, and then non-owners, again you adjust by this little factor, and then you do the computation. So that now you have the discriminant functions and then you do the computation. So unequal misclassification cost. So the previous slide we looked at rare cases, but what if the classifications, the cost of classifications is different? We discussed this in detail in chapter 4 or 5. Now if there is unequal misclassification cost, so then we can do this. You can you add ln of the classification cost of the first class. Okay, if owner gets misclassified as non-owner, or the cost of owner getting misclassified as non-owner. So you add this to the owner discriminant function or this to the non-owner discriminant function. So that's the adjustment like we did here with the probabilities, you do with the misclassification cost. But often it's very difficult to compute the misclassification cost in absolute terms like $5 and $50. But it may be easier to express this as a ratio. So misclassifying a owner as a non-owner, okay, is or misclassifying a non-owner as a owner costs 5 times as much as misclassifying a owner as a non-owner. So when the ratio is what is known, so you put one cost to 1 and set the other cost to the ratio. So then add that up. So that's a way of handling the case of unequal misclassification cost when the absolute cost itself is not known, but the ratio is known. So here is a summary of this. So we look at an example in Excel. So you have actual class. Okay, it gets misclassified. Okay, here is the prior probability, and here the misclassification cost. So now we're going to put the two together. In the previous case, we did the unequal classes individually, and then we did unequal misclassification costs individually. But when you put the two together, you multiply P sub 1 with Q sub 1 and find the ln of that, and then add this to your discriminant function, and that will give you an adjusted value for discriminant function.